the moon and back. But there's more. Dunkin' serves over 3 million customers daily, making it a vital part of American morning. In this video, we'll take you inside Dunkin's factories to reveal how these delicious treats are made. So grab a donut and watch the whole video to discover the secrets behind your favorite donuts. You won't look at them the same way again. How it all started. Imagine walking into a small shop in Quincy, Massachusetts in 1948. The place was called Open Kettle, and the menu was simple. Donuts for 5 cents, coffee for 10. Behind the counter was a man named Bill Rosenberg, who had a big heart and an even bigger love for coffee and donuts. Little did he know, his humble shop would one day become Dunkin' Donuts, a name known around the world. By 1950, Bill decided his shop needed a new name. After tossing ideas around with his team, they landed on Dunkin' Donuts. Why? Because everyone knows donuts are best when dunked into coffee. It was simple, catchy, and just made sense. Fast forward to 1955, and Dunkin' Donuts started franchising. The concept took off, and within just a decade, there were over 100 locations. Then, in 1972, something magical happened. The birth of the iconic Munchkins. Those bite-sized donut holes became an instant hit, cementing Dunkin' Donuts as more than just a coffee stop. Over the years, Dunkin' didn't stop at just donuts and coffee. It added breakfast sandwiches, bagels, iced coffee, and even fun drinks like culottes. And it wasn't just the menu that grew. Today, Dunkin' has over 12,000 locations in 45 countries, serving a jaw-dropping 1.9 billion cups of coffee every year. In 2019, Dunkin' dropped the donuts from its name, rebranding to just Dunkin'. This was to focus more on drinks while still being a go-to spot for donuts. And they've kept up the times, introducing mobile ordering, a rewards app, and innovative flavors that keep customers coming back. From that tiny shop in Quincy to a global coffee and donut empire, Dunkin' is proof that even the simplest ideas, when paired with passion and innovation, can become something extraordinary. So next time you grab a coffee and a donut, think about Bill Rosenberg and his dream. You're sipping on a slice of American history, preparing the dough. The journey to making Dunkin' Donuts starts with simple yet top-notch ingredients: flour, sugar, yeast, milk, eggs, butter, and water. Each one has a special role. For example, the high-protein bread flour gives the donuts their structure, while the yeast helps them rise to fluffy perfection. And here's a cool fact. Dunkin' doesn't just use any flour. They go for a high-gluten variety that adds strength and that irresistible chewiness to the dough. Sugar isn't just there for sweetness. It feeds the yeast during fermentation, creating that light, airy texture we all love. Butter and milk, they enrich the dough, keeping it soft, tender, and just the right amount of rich to balance the sweet. The magic lies not in fancy ingredients, but in the perfect balance and strict quality control that makes every donut taste consistently amazing. It all begins in massive industrial mixers. These computer-controlled machines churn out dough by the hundreds of pounds, ensuring every batch is perfectly mixed. Ratios are key. Too much water, and the dough gets sticky. Too little, and it's dry. Each batch is mixed at precise speeds and temperatures to incorporate every ingredient just right. The dough's temperature is just as critical. If it's too hot, the yeast won't do its job, and the donuts won't rise. After mixing, the dough rests and ferments, giving the yeast time to work its magic. This stage is where simple dough transforms into something extraordinary, as the yeast releases gas, puffing up the dough to create that signature light and airy texture Dunkin' is famous for. Shaping. Once the dough has rested, it's time to roll and cut. Dunkin' uses giant machines called dough sheeters that roll the dough into perfectly even sheets. Why? Because if the dough isn't the same thickness, some donuts could end up undercooked or too dry when fried, and nobody wants that. Next, the dough heads to the cutter. This machine punches out the iconic ring-shaped donuts we all know and love. Fun fact, Dunkin' has different cutters for various shapes, but the ring cutter is the MVP, creating those perfect round donuts with a hole in the middle. And what about the leftover dough from the holes? That's turned into Munchkins. Yep, those adorable little donut balls started as a way to reduce waste, but became a fan favorite all on their own. After cutting, the donuts head to proofing, arguably the most delicate step of the process. They're placed in a special proofing chamber, a warm and humid environment where the yeast works its magic, making the donuts puff up to nearly double their size. This step is crucial for giving donuts that soft, pillowy texture we all love. But here's the tricky part. Proofing is all about timing. Rush it, and the donuts turn out dense and heavy. Let them sit too long, and they'll collapse when fried. It's a fine balance, but when done right, it's what makes every Dunkin' donut totally irresistible. Frying and glazing. Now that they are all poofed up, the donuts are ready for the crucial part that has to be perfectly done. Frying. This is where Dunkin' Donuts get that irresistible golden brown color and slightly crisp exterior. The proofed donuts are gently transferred to industrial deep fryers filled with vegetable oil, heated to around 365 degrees Fahrenheit. Each donut takes a quick dip, frying for about 60 to 90 seconds per side. Timing and temperature are everything here. Dunkin' uses conveyor belts to carefully lower the donuts into the oil, making sure they hold their perfect shape. If the oil's too hot, you'll get donuts that are raw in the center. Too cool, they'll soak up the oil and turn greasy. Yuck. But when it's just right, you get that magical combo of a crispy outside and a soft, fluffy inside. After frying, the donuts take a ride on cooling conveyors, where they drip off any excess oil and settle. This cooling step is super important because it ensures the donuts aren't greasy and sets the stage for their transformation into sweet, sugary masterpieces. Next up, glazing, filling, and topping. This is where the donuts go from delicious to iconic. For glazed donuts, Each one takes a dip in warm, sugary glaze, getting completely coated before cooling on racks. As the glaze hardens, it forms that shiny, sweet layer we all love. For frosted varieties like chocolate or vanilla, specialized machines evenly dip the donuts into thick icing, ensuring every bite has the perfect balance of frosting and dough. Dunkin has even fine-tuned the angles on these machines for ultimate frosting perfection. And just like that, these donuts are ready to bring smiles to millions around the world, filling and sprinkling. Next up are the fan-favorite filled donuts, like the iconic Boston cream or the classic jelly donut. These treats get their signature centers thanks to precision filling machine. Each donut is injected with just the right amount of cream, custard, or jelly. No overstuffing or skimpy filling here. These machines are fine-tuned to ensure every bite is as perfect as the last. But the magic doesn't stop there. Some donuts get their finishing touch with sprinkles, nuts, or a dusting of powdered sugar. Timing is everything with these toppings. If sprinkles are added too soon, they'll melt into the glaze. Too late, they won't stick. Dunkin solves this with automated sprinkle dispensers that release toppings at the perfect moment, giving every donut its flawless finish. But wait, there's one last step before these donuts are ready to share. Every donut still has to pass the ultimate test to ensure it meets Dunkin's deliciously high standards. Quality control: each batch of donuts goes through a careful inspection to ensure they meet Dunkin's high standards. Workers carefully check for uniform size, even color, and perfect top. For filled donuts, they even examine the filling to dough ratio to guarantee every bite has just the right amount of cream or jelly. Distribution: once the donuts pass quality control, they're carefully packed into trays or boxes and prepped for delivery. Dunkin uses a centralized bakery model where donuts are crafted at regional production hubs and delivered fresh to local stores multiple times a day. This ensures that whether you're grabbing a donut at 6 a.m. or 3 p.m., it's always fresh and delicious, made and delivered on the same day. From mixing ingredients to the final quality check, Dunkin's production process is a seamless blend of modern technology and time-tested method. This allows Dunkin to produce millions of donuts daily while maintaining the same light, fluffy texture and irresistible flavor people know and love. No matter where you are in the world, every Dunkin donut tastes just as amazing as the next. It's this commitment to quality and consistency that's kept Dunkin a global favorite for decades. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more delicious content.